Let me see if I can get this put somewhere else. Maybe a little bit lower down. All right, I'm going to see who all's still up. Uncle Jed's still up this morning. Yeah, almost 4 o'clock Central Time here in Scottsville, Kentucky. We're live here on YouTube. I just got through doing a live video on our Facebook for local people to let them know that we're still here. The door's still open. Technically, we're open. The store's open. So technically, somebody could shop here if they wanted to right now at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was sort of trying to see actually who might be up today and who might be watching. If you're out there watching, give me a shout out, say hi to me, let me know. 4 o'clock in the morning. A lot of you stayed up late with me last night. I done forgot what time it was we stopped. I've been getting invoices printed off, getting ready to do some shipping and invoicing and things like that. And we got all the invoices printed off and went through and double checked. So I didn't know if anybody would actually be on at 4 o'clock. We wanted to take another little break before we went back to working a little bit more here on the computer and trying to get items ready to ship out. Keith said it's 152 in Washington State. Keith, I don't think we've talked before, but we run an online auction here, and we ran one late last night, and we've got a warming shelter here in our building for the homeless people. So we just sort of stayed up here, and I was getting a little bored, so I thought I'd come on here and talk a little bit. But if you ever get a chance on Tuesday and Thursday nights, we have some pretty good online auctions, and we ship all over the United States. We have a lot of fun, Keith. Washington State, y'all got a lot of snow out there? We actually got 8 inches of snow here in South Central Kentucky, Keith. And it's right now it is 8 degrees. I think the high today is going to be 14. No, we're not gonna. I may come on and talk to you guys tonight, but we're not gonna have an auction tonight, Donna. I'm gonna try to regroup. We had 3 in a row. We had the special Wednesday night because we didn't know if we'd have one tonight or last night already. Donna, what are you doing up, honey, so early? I bet you done up cooking some red-eyed gravy and probably cooking some good old scrambled eggs and some big old cat head biscuits. 19 there at Donna. Yeah, it's 8 degrees here in Scottsville. I think our high today is going to be 14 degrees. Of course, the snow cover. Keith never did. I was wondering how cold it was up there in Washington State. It's 2 o'clock in the morning there, over on the West Coast. But thanks for stopping by, Keith. We get on here sometimes, and when we're not having auctions, and we just talk to each other. I was wanting to really, Donna, what I was wanting to see. Ivan had to leave the show tonight because his wife called. That's the way I am sometimes. I get pumped up and my adrenaline's going now. And once I get sleepy, and you can't wake me up. But if my adrenaline's going, I can't go to sleep. But Ivan, you know who I'm talking about, Donna. He came on tonight and said that he got COVID and he was in his private room and he came on and said, guys, my chest is hurting. My wife's had to call an ambulance. So I'm hoping that it was just anxiety and that he got to come back home. And I was hoping maybe he'd be sort of up. You know, you're up and down when you're sick like that. And I was sort of hoping he got a notification that it was on. He'd come on here and say, hey guys, I went to the hospital and they gave me a transfusion. I think that's what it's called, and gave me some medicine, and I feel better, fluids and stuff. Ivan's a police officer in Florida. He just started watching our show here probably about a month ago, didn't he, Donna? But he seems like just a really down-to-earth feller. So we've been still praying for him. We've been worried about him. And even though I've never met him, he lives several states away. And just like with Donna there and a lot of the people that watch our show, I've never met him, but I consider her my friend. Like Terry Spitz, she drove 7.5 hours to come down here to Scottsville, Kentucky to meet us. And she said, I came to pay my bill, but I think she wanted to meet us, and I was glad she did. And she walked in the store, and I didn't know her. She said, "I'm here to pay my bill," and I'm thinking, "Well, good. Who are you?" Oh, you had a foot. They had a foot of snow out there, Donna. Well, thank you. When you get ready to do a little bidding, Keith, if you ever see something we got that you like, just join in on the fun, brother. And Keith, I'm going to go ahead and give you a wrench because the reason we give people wrenches, uh, we used to have a lot of trolls that would come on here and they would pretend, say like Donna there, they would copy, if she had a picture there, they would copy her picture and her name and they'd get on their bid. And I had several people one night, they was like, "That ain't me a bidding." Like Sammy there, "That ain't me a bidding. I don't know who that is." But they would copy everything, so they can't copy being a moderator. So we're going to go ahead and give you a blue wrench, and that's why we do that for everybody. And that way, the trolls they can't copy. They stopped that when we figured out. One of my customers made a suggestion to do that, and at first thought, "Oh, I don't know if I want everybody being moderators. I just don't know about that." But I tell you what, they good, and if somebody jumps on here, they're quick. They got like my wife says, cat-like reflexes, and they get on there and get them. No, that's what I got on here. Yeah, you can get register, Keith, and if you just enjoy watching, we went ahead. I don't know. There's something about your name there that made me like you. There's some people that come on here and I just like automatically, without even getting on here doing any bidding or buying. I just like them. And for some reason, Keith. Yeah, and we don't. Hey, Keith, we don't share that information with nobody. Matter of fact, we don't work nobody clerking no more. Uh, we've had clerks in the past and stuff, but my wife does the clerking. We do it all ourselves now. We've never had nobody's information get out of here, and we don't sell it to nobody. And if one of the other customers, they'll say, "Hey, you got so and so's email address, so I can email them and ask them about something." I always come to you first and say, "So and so's wanting your email address or wanting your number. Do you want me to give it to them?" But we don't never sell them or do anything like that. We keep all your information private. And if you tell me, "Jerry, don't mention that I'm from Washington State," and a lot of people don't care, Me and Sammy's from Kentucky here. We don't care who knows. But some people don't want, to mention, especially maybe not necessarily their state, but like the town they live in, because a lot of people get swatted. And I actually got swatted. Did I ever tell you guys about, Sammy, do you remember me telling you guys about getting swatted? I didn't even know what swatting was until I got swatted. I'd done been swatted before I knew what swatting was. But we've got a pretty good sized building in the back of on the back lot of our house. And we used to do all of our online auctions. Matter of fact, we did live barn auctions, what you called them down here, or in-house auctions, where people would come right in front of you and sit and would bid. And we started when COVID started around, or a little before that, we started doing online auctions. Oh, Keith, all right, buddy. But I was in there auctioning and live on YouTube. I think it was YouTube. Might have been back when I was on Facebook, but we was live. Pretty sure it was YouTube. When we first started doing YouTube and figured out how to do a low latency through YouTube to make it almost live, with a 4 second lag or something like that. I really like that because Facebook's like a 30-second lag. But we were sitting there auctioning, and the police came to the side door of my building, and they said, one of the guys that was standing there said, "Jerry, they're wanting to see you." And so I went over to the door and I said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Is your wife okay?" And I said, "Yeah, right. She's right there with the kids in the kitchen." I was pointing at the back of my house, the kitchen. I said, "She's fine." They said, "Well, somebody called and said, 'This is Jerry Whitney, and I've just stabbed my wife.'" And the police know me around here, and they knew uh, because what the person was thinking. And this is how swatting works. That the police, if they hadn't known me, they would have come rushing to the house, and suppose I'd been walking from the building to my back porch, and maybe had something in my hand. I could have got shot. or anything. But that's what swatting is. They was actually wanting the cops to come in and throw me down live on TV or live on YouTube or live on the internet. And that's what they want us to do. They want to watch when somebody's live on the internet. They like seeing the police come in and hurt somebody or shoot somebody or throw them down on the floor. They think it's all a prank, and there's been several people that's been killed and been hurt really bad by swatting incidents. And so I understand it when people say don't tell nobody where I live or anything like that. And of course we have to put it out there for many different reasons, for our businesses and stuff, our address. Everybody knows where we live. We got good surveillance cameras, but there's been people hurt right underneath surveillance cameras and stuff. We are armed. Right now I've got something in my back pocket. We keep it with us at all time because the hour and the time that we're living in, it pays to protect your family. I'm not a big hunter. I don't go hunting. We have several of the guns and stuff, but I don't go hunting and things like that. I have them for the protection of my family. I'm not a big person that's really knows all about them and all that stuff. I just want something to be able to protect my family if push come to shove. And there ain't nothing wrong with that at all. But that's what swatting is. If Donna, if I'd never had told y'all, I don't know if you had told that since you've been watching or not. But that was we've had some strange things happen here on the, especially with the trolls coming on here. But we've got so many people on here now that are such good people. They get on them quick. I mean, they'll toss them off here. And we've had workers in the past, and Minda Indias has decided to just go it along for right now. If we have to close our doors one day to go on a trip or something to get a storage unit, we will just do that because we've had so many people that's worked for us and they've stole from us, and not all of them. And then we can't tell people when we go live again. They'll say, "Where's so and so at? Why isn't so and so doing this?" And we're not a person that we try to ruin that person's life because they done us bad. We don't get on here and say their name. Well, so and so did this and so did that. But that's why you don't see anybody else working, helping us clerk or helping us do things now, for the simple reason. Once they get done with you, they go and they run you down, they talk about you, they try to hurt your business. Yeah, Donna, those trolls sometimes are pretty pesky, but they try to hurt your business, and you've been good to them, and they're actually the ones that done you wrong to start with, but then they go out here and the bad thing about when we had somebody clerking, Keith, they knew everybody's number, and they would deal with people on the phone, talking to them, about fixing up an order or something that went wrong, or telling them something got shipped, and they got to know these particular individuals, and then after we fired them and got rid of them, they kept talking to some of our customers, and that's why. And somebody asked, asked me the other day up in Wisconsin. I think it was Bill asked me, what's happened to some of the customers? Where did they go? And that's exactly what happened to a lot of our customers. They would one of our clerks or somebody that worked with us that actually got close to some of our customers, they would call them up and say, Jerry this and Jerry that and all this stuff, and all of a sudden I've got people mad at me, and I don't know why they're mad at me. I mean, there's somebody right now that's on here that I think the world of, and I feel like they're upset at me. And I don't know, I haven't done anything, and I've got a good feeling it's where people call them up and they run their mouth for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to do anybody like that. Even the people that done me wrong, I don't want to run them down. I don't want to call them out and call their name out and say so-and-so's this or so-and-so's that. I hope they get better. I hope they prosper. But some people are so vindictive and just mean, downright mean. To do that, and I'm proud to say that I'm a lot on the conservative side. I've got some children that's more on the liberal side, but I get along with everybody and anybody. Uh, so it just behooves me sometimes the way people behave and the way they hate. And we don't need to, as a society, we don't need to hate. I don't care if you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, liberal, conservative, black, white, rich, poor. If we can't figure out a way to come together as a society, as people, as human beings, and treat each other fair and treat each other. And I'm not talking about letting people run over you. I ain't gonna let nobody run over me. I mean, I'll get to the point where when I finally get to the point where I've had enough, I've had enough, and I'll say it. And you guys probably have seen me sometimes on the show. Sammy has. When I get to a point where I've had enough, I've had enough, and I'm done with it. But I'm not talking about situations like that because we're all like that. You know, we all sort of lose our cool sometimes. And you know, the worst thing, Donna, that I've done, Sammy, that and Keith, that I've done, I'll get to that point where I lose my cool, and I'll say some things, and not no really bad things, but it seems like I hurt that person when I say those things, and then at night I'll get home and I'll get to thinking about why did I lose my cool, why did I say those things. I just made that person feel awful, and even though they had done this to me and they finally made me blow my top, I still feel a burden on me that I've put an extra burden on them. I guess I was born like that. I was raised like that, and I guess I'll die like that. I'll never get away from that. Even people that would consider themselves my enemy, which I hope I don't have enemies, but I probably do. They know that all they got to come to me and put out their hand or hug my neck or something, and I'm put in their hand. They know that, and I guess that's my downfall a lot of times in life is people know that about me, and but I guess it's also a good thing. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing good tonight. Thank you for keeping me company. We're waiting see if anybody's going to come in out of the cold. We fed a couple people tonight. I'm hoping that everybody got hunkered down somewheres, and that's why nobody showed up. But we tried tonight. We wanted to keep the doors open for a place for people to be able to stay warm if they needed to. So that's what it's all about. So Donna said, Sammy, what are you doing still up to? I know why Keith's up. It ain't that late out there in Washington. I don't know, Donna. You know, the bad thing about it is, and I say this a lot because you guys know I've ran for mayor. This will be my third run. Well, actually, the second run for full-term mayor. There was a special election I ran into, and I won a primary, and then I've lost the main race, and then I lost the main race in the last one, and I'm running again. And I tell them a lot. You know, they'll go around, they make up stories on me. One person will say, Jerry's going to do a good job as mayor. And then this guy that was president of the bank said, oh, I don't think he will. He ain't got enough education. And the guy said, well, he's ran a lot of businesses, and look at all the people he's helped, and this and that and that and that. And the president of that bank looked at him and said, yeah, but we don't know where he gets his money at. Just the inclination or I don't know the terminology to use, that this president of the bank, oh, thank you, Keith, but you may not like me if I tell you this, but the president of the bank, he's like, we don't know where he gets that money. I told the person that told me this, I said, you know something? I said, I don't understand why people make stuff up on you. I've probably done enough bad and wrong in my life that they could just tell the truth. They don't have to make nothing up. Ain't that right, Sammy? They can just tell the truth. I feel like I've done enough wrong in my life. I'm 59 years old. I feel like I've done enough wrong in my life to where they don't have to lie. They don't have to make up stuff. Just tell the truth on me, guys, and it won't hurt as bad. And you know, I've never done, you know, just something just dastardly, just totally bad. Yeah, that's going to be the thing now. I can go on Facebook Live and say something, and within a few minutes they doesn't know about it in the courthouse. God's honest truth there. And you watch, Sammy. We had a lot of fun. We had the new panties, Keith. I don't know if you watched tonight. I've never sold panties on here before, and I got to blushing real bad. And they were new. I mean, that's something that people buy. You know, I've sold underwear before in packages, and these were brand new, and everybody got to have a little fun out of it and stuff like that. But I guarantee they're going to say, "Look at there, he's on there, pink at that." And then Gettysburg Rich, he said, "I'll buy a pair of them if you'll sign them." So I put Too Rich, my girl, Uncle Jed, and I guarantee they're going to be talking about that in my town, trying to run me down because the Uncle Jed persona. That's what one of the city council members said. Said we just can't separate the Uncle Jed persona and the real Jerry Whitney. And I said, you know, that's like saying that you can't separate John Wayne from his characters, or one of the actors on TV from the actor they play. They may play a villain, but they're real good in life. That's saying you can't separate them. And that's what one of the city council members told me. He said, we just can't separate that Uncle Jed and Jerry Whitney. But the Uncle Jed is the fun part. He was birthed several years ago as a persona to have fun. And I have calmed down a lot. If you guys will go back and watch some of my Facebook videos that I did as Uncle Jed, I mean, Donna, you've got to go back in my videos sometime or another and watch some of them from several years back. I was out there in the middle of the yard, and I made it look like there was crop circles out there, and promoting one of my sales. We had a lot of fun with Uncle Jed, and of course the persona has grown. Not like probably I would like it to, but it sort of grown organically, and it's grown to a point to where some of the crazy antics that I used to do. I don't do them no more because everybody knows Uncle Jed now. But you have to do some things really crazy, and you have to do some things to where it gets people attention to build a persona, and that's what we did. And now we're sort of laid back. We still do the twist. Donna, at my daughter's wedding, we got to do their ceremony, and we got to actually do the twist. Not only I did the twist, but my son did, Jerry Neal Whitney the second, and then Jerry Neal Whitney the third, his son. We was all three on the dance floor doing the twist, and we had a lot of fun doing the twist. And Donna, I don't know if you've been here long enough to where you've seen me do the twist on air, and I invite everybody from the crowd to be able to that's watching on YouTube to get up and do the twist with me. And I've had people sending me video. Evil Lenny's one with his little son up doing the twist and things like that. So we have a lot of fun on our show because I mean, I may not make a lot of money. Yeah, the last election, they were saying that I was coming to this really rich guy runs a little fruit stand in front of his house, and he's got a little deposit box to where you can actually, you know, you buy your fruit, it's on the trust system, and then you put your money in the slot, you know, for the cantaloupes or whatever you buy. And he was actually, when this was the antique mall and I was running it, at least the building, they actually had a booth here that they leased from me, and word got back to me. They was telling everybody to keep people from voting for me that I'd come down there early in the morning and that I'd steal that fruit and wouldn't put no money in that box. And man, when the guy told me that, that was one of them times, Keith, that I lost it. I mean, I completely lost it. I told my worker that I had up here, I said, you call them and you tell them to get their stuff out of my building. I want it out today. And she did. And then the guy called me that night. He said, well, they called us today and said that you didn't want our stuff in your building no more. We really like being up there. We've been up there for a while, and we like you, Jerry. And they said, what's the problem? I said, you know what the problem is. I said, I don't like people lying on me. And, well, Jerry, that was a long time ago. I said, it was never ago. I said, I don't know what you're trying to pull. I said, but I don't put up with stuff like that. And he said, is that the way you're going to act? That's when it came out what he was doing. This is what he said. Is that the way you're going to act when you get mayor? And I said, you dang straight, that's the way I'm going to act when I get mayor. I ain't going to put up with this bull crap. And I probably used a few choice words that I shouldn't have used talking to him, but it ran all over me. I've got food banks all over town, little boxes to where we put food in and we try to feed people. And somebody accused me of stealing food, and it was funny. The guy Charlie that he told that to, he said, "Well, I know that ain't true because Jerry don't get up that early, and he don't eat vegetables that much." But that's what they do in small town politics, Keith. And probably big town politics, it's on a bigger scale. But they do everything they can to keep in power because we're from the wrong side of the tracks. We wasn't brought up with a silver spoon in our mouth. My mom had 10 children. My dad left her when I was 2 years old. The baby that was underneath me, the 10th child, she died at 2 weeks old. So that made me the baby. She had 9 kids. And the farthest back I can remember was living in a little 1-bedroom house. She paid $25 a month for, and there was 8 of us kids living there because my oldest brother Pete had done moved out. But there was 8 of us kids that were living there. There was 4 girls. Let me see. Let me get this right. No, there was 5 girls and 3 boys living in that house with my mother. And 1 bedroom, there was 3 beds in this bedroom. I can remember it plainly. And there was a feather bed. You guys know what a feather bed is? A feather bed was put down in the living room floor, and that's where we slept. That whole entire time, we lived in that house probably 10 years. And as kids got older and they got married and went out, you know, it sort of opened up the room a little bit. But we never had it, you know, real easy, and it was sort of from the wrong side of town. When we first moved into Scottsville from the county, we lived in Boxtown. That's the wrong side of town according to them. Then we lived over sort of towards Stringtown on North 8th Street. That was the wrong side of town for them. And one of the other sitting city council members made the statement that we will never allow somebody from that side of town to become mayor. And they worked really hard at it. They turned people that are my friends against me. And they turn other people that don't even know me from Adam, that's never talked to me. They tell them, you know, well, he sells drugs. Somebody told me today, and a boy that I helped, Cornbread, I'll go ahead and I'll call Cornbread out. A boy that helps going around telling people that I sell drugs and stuff. And I'm the biggest person that's against any type of drug use or anything like that. I've been around alcoholism all my life and family members that did drugs and stuff, and I've seen how it can destroy people. But for somebody that I've helped, and that's what I was talking about earlier, that you helped and you tried to change their path. I like trying to change people's path that I know are headed down the wrong path. I like to try to help them and change that path onto a more successful path. And then there they are once again, and I completely, India said, "What's wrong?" one night, and after I'd heard that, and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't understand people. I don't understand how they try to hurt people. I'm not into hurting people, and just no shape, form, or fashion. But that's the way they play their politics in small town politics." And a lot of people, they say, "Well, Jerry, you've got 2 businesses. You've got your fireworks business, you got your online auction business, and then you've got your store there. You've got plenty of money." And I told him, I said, "Well, you can't take this bottle or that vase over there and go pay a light bill with it. You got to liquidate it. And we may have a lot of stuff." I know it. I am. I'm 59 years old, and I thought that was pretty because you'd been saying something about selling coins all night long, and it just so happens I picked up a quarter. That's a 1959 quarter, and I knew it was going to be a penny item. And Sandy Boardman messaged me after that, by the way, and she said, "You made me feel bad not being." But I cut up with Sandy and Joe all the time. I enjoy cutting up with people. I'm a big cut up. Because I want to see people, and I didn't finish a while ago. I want to, if I can make Donna smile on there, and I'll tell you what, Nancy tonight saying that Brittany had got a good report about her tumors. that her PET scan was clear. I'm telling you what, I about jumped through the roof. I didn't see it till I got to seeing people saying something, and I went back and read it, and tears welled up in my eyes because I was so tickled with that. I like to see people happy, and I like to see people to be able to tell people. And if I can put a smile on somebody's face, if I have to turn my hat around like this and do that or whatever, if I can put a smile on somebody's face and make somebody feel better from 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, if I can make somebody feel better, I think I've done a good job, whether I've made a lot of money or not. But getting back, people think that we're well off. We're not well off. We struggle. We started out this year in worse shape than what we were, and I'll share this with you guys. I don't care. We started out this year in worse shape than we were last year. So we didn't gain any ground as far as financially, as far as with savings, as far as with business. We started out more in the hole this year than we did last year. And we're praying that this year will be a turnaround year for us. But we struggle. We borrow from Paul to pay Peter, or from Peter to pay Paul, whichever way you want to look at it. But I think if you just keep digging, and I want to tell you something, if I won the lottery today and won a $500 million, I don't think I'd be happy. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'd be happy because I thrive. I seem to thrive off of the challenges. When everything's going hunky-dory and good, and the money's coming in great, it sort of gets, I don't know, you sort of feel like, where's the challenge at? But then when we got some bills due, and I'm having to hustle and do this and hustle to do that, and hustle with the fireworks shop, or hustle in here, or hustle with the online auction, and really get things done, I meet those challenges, and it seems like I thrive on them. When everything's going great and good, I'm not as happy, I'll just tell you. I'd rather it be like that, don't get me wrong, but when everything's going hunky-dory and good, I mean, there's no challenges around, and now when there is a challenge, and I do stress, and I do worry, but it causes me to kick myself in the butt and pick myself up and fight. And that's what we got to do in this life. We got to, no matter what life throws at us, we got to fight. We can't lay down, we can't quit, we got to fight. Sometimes when everything's good, we get lackadaisical, and we take things for granted until that thing's took away. And then we have to fight, and we fight. And that's what I want you guys to do. No matter what comes at you, I want you to fight. Sammy, Keith, Donna, whoever else is listening out there, whatever life throws at you, you fight back with everything you got. Don't you quit. Don't you give up. Don't you never, ever, ever quit. You fight back. And I tell you what, sometimes it really gets you going. When you're actually fighting back, then you start seeing things turn around, and you think, that's why God put that challenge in front of me. He wanted to see how much fight I had in me. And, sometimes, I know you get to the point to where you just want to, Donna, we sure will. We sure will, honey. Now, when you say Travis, I'm confused a little bit. Because you've got a son named, I'm trying to remember your son's name now. Joseph? No. And I pride myself on trying to remember stuff about people. He's the one that introduced you to the show, I think. Now, is Travis your son also, Donna? Dustin. There you go. Dustin. There you go. It's Dustin. But now, is Travis your son also? I tell you what, Keith. When you talk about being a patriot, I love my. No, he's not. He's a friend of yours. Because when you said my Travis, that sort of threw me off a little bit. No, you said about Travis. Just a friend of yours, probably. I didn't know that. If somebody commented that about a head biopsy Monday, we will. I wish he had mentioned that, and we will. We'll He's got that Monday. We'll try to really remember that. And he don't care for you telling me that, does he, Donna? Because me and him we've texted back and forth a little bit. Uh, he's asked me a few questions. I respond to him, and we've had a few little texts back and forth to each other. He won't mind me probably texting him saying we're praying for him Monday. Would he? And I'll text him and tell him that we're going to keep him in our prayers. Being a patriot. I probably, Keith, I love my country so much. Oh, he did put it in the chat tonight. Okay, I get to doing a lot of things in some of the chats I don't see, and that's one I regret missing tonight. I did because I probably didn't say nothing, and he probably thought I ignored it, and that makes me feel bad now. But I get to talking and get to grabbing things, and sometimes I don't get to see the conversation that's going on. I'm busy taking bids or something like that. I try to, but that one slipped by me. That sure did, and I feel bad. But I'll text him. I'll text him and say that I didn't see that. But being a patriot, I worry about our country, Keith. And I don't know where you stand at. We've talked before. I guess I do. But being a patriot nowadays, I worry about our country. My newest grandson, Gus, Jeremiah's little boy, and Jerry's little kids, Jackson and Jerry Whitney III. Oh, he was talking to you in chat. Okay. Not in our chat. I worry about them. And not only that, I'm 59. I worry about, when I get on up 68, 69, 10 years from now. It behooves me. It really does. And this whole COVID thing is what really scares me more. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. None whatsoever. When people start that junk about, John F. Kennedy still alive, or Elvis Presley still alive, or something like that. Okay, thank you, Donna. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But this whole COVID thing, how it affects some people so lightly, and how that others die from it and get deathly sick, that has me concerned, and that has me worried, because I don't think there's ever been another virus, the flu or whatever it might be, that treats people to that. Now, I know the flu, when you get it, some people, most people I know who gets flu, they're miserable. And I'm not comparing that to the flu by any means, but what I'm saying, the flu's a virus. I've never seen the flu to the degree to where it affects so many people so differently at such a wide range. Some people, hardly nothing, and then some people being put on a ventilator. I've never seen that in my lifetime with any other virus. So to me, that tells me that this virus was partly manipulated, or I don't want to say man-made, but it was manipulated in a laboratory to where it acts crazy. I don't know if it was engineered or and this is what, it's not a conspiracy theory, but this is my theory. China's got just way overpopulated, and one of these days the whole world's probably going to be way overpopulated. So I don't know if they've been working on a virus that would affect that would try to, in effect, decrease the population of the world. If we get to the point, and I'm talking about 50, 100 years from now, maybe they're trying to experiment with it now, and to where it would only affect people, and this affects a lot of people, people that's got sugar diabetes, people that's older, people that's overweight. And if you wanted to decrease the world's population, and this is not misinformation, guys. YouTube, this is not misinformation. I'm not preaching this. This is just a thinking that I've got, how this came about. You would want something to get rid of the people, the older people, the older crowd. And that seems like that's what this thing's doing. I know it's affected young people and things like that, but mostly it's affected the elderly. Mostly it's affected people that's already got some type of sickness. And if you wanted to decrease the population, you would do that. I mean, that's what they're thinking about. And I think they did this, and it got leaked from that lab. And I think that's why it affects so many people so many different ways. It's not nothing that's natural that came from an animal that morphed to a human. Uh, uh, that's just my opinion, and I'm not preaching that as fact. I'm just saying that's what scares me. If we've got scientists that is experimenting with biological, uh, uh, what do you call it, biological germ warfare, or whatever you would call it, the correct terminology, that scares me more than anything. Because what if one day they accidentally release something that affects us all? That's so deadly. That scares me. And Keith, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's not a Republican or Democrat thing to me. It just scares me that could have took place. I'm not saying it did. I'm not putting that out as fact or anything like that. That's just one of my little theories, in my opinion, how this whole thing just got completely snowballed into a crazy, crazy thing. I've got friends that lost their lives. I've got friends that's on ventilators, so I know it's a real thing. But I think it was manipulated. I really do, and that's just my opinion. May have not happened, but I've never seen a virus behave like this, and I don't think nobody else has either. And that scares me. And another thing that scares me, the vaccinations. I've got children that's vaccinated. I tell everybody, if you need to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. I don't preach against it. I've not been vaccinated, and what scares me there is when they first came out with the vaccination. And this is, again, guys, I'm not preaching. I don't want YouTube knocking my channel off. This is not misinformation. This is just my opinion, and part of it is fact. I just studied on this the other night. When they first came out with the vaccination, they said one of them was 97% effective from preventing you from getting COVID. The other one was like 94% effective from preventing you from getting COVID. And the third one was like the lowest, like 92 or 91% effective into keeping you from getting COVID. In March of 2021, the CDC came out with a study saying this. It is highly effective at preventing you from getting COVID. Now all of a sudden we have all these breakthrough cases. And now they're no longer saying that. They're saying we never said that. When you can go back through Google on research and see exactly what they said, they're saying we never said that. And this is repeated so much. They're saying they never said that. But listen, they did. Now they're saying, oh, no, we didn't mean that it would prevent you from getting COVID. Even though when they first got it, they was like, you don't have to wear the mask no more. You don't have to social distance no more if you got the vaccination. Then they started having the breakthroughs. Oh, no, now you can still get it, but you're just not going to get as sick. And that might be the case. That might be true. I don't know. But why do they not just come out and tell the truth? It shouldn't be political. They ought to just come out. It shouldn't be a narrative behind anything. Their main goal is to help people and to get people better when they get it. Just tell the truth. Whether it hurts your party or your political candidate, it don't matter. Just tell the truth to the American people. Don't try to fudge the numbers to make your narrative right. That's what upsets me so much. I know it's a bad thing. And the narrative is, he's a Trump supporter. Hope he gets it, and good riddance to him. He don't believe in this and that. Man, I want to tell you something. And see, that's what I'm talking about, Keith. That's the exact thing that I'm talking about. And like I said, it's not I'm so sick and tired of hearing misinformation. if it don't go with your narrative, just like what you said right there, Keith, they're going to say that's misinformation, even though that it's been proven that it's not misinformation. That's what really upsets me. I think we could have nipped this thing in the bud a long, long time ago if they would just and see. I don't know. You guys can tell me. They're saying that Rividence or whatever they're treating people for with COVID. They're saying that's actually what is making people sicker and causing some people to go on the vent. It was used to treat something else, and it caused blood clots and things like that. I don't know that. I'm asking the question. If you guys have heard of that, and I'm probably mispronouncing is the treatment that is most prescribed by doctors when you go in the hospital is this one. I can see the word right here, but I cannot pronounce it right. That's what really gets me. I just completely don't understand it. I don't understand how many boosters that people's going to have to get. That's just like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we came into contact with somebody that had COVID. They didn't know it at the time. It wasn't their fault. And my brother did, and my wife did, and my brother's wife. We all came into contact with the same person, one of her cousins. And like I said, it wasn't his fault. He didn't know it at the time that he had it. And so my brother called me the next day, and he's like, Jerry, he said, you're not vaccinated. You're fixing to get COVID. We were around that boy, and you're going to get it. You better go get that shot. And I said, Kenneth, I'm feeling fine. I said, that was 2 or 3 days ago. I'm fine. I said, I'll go get one of them tests and do a test because I'm out in the public a lot. I will do that. And so that's what we did. We went down to Walgreens and we got one of those tests and we ran it and we were negative and we were fine. And then the next day, my brother, who is him and his wife both vaccinated, calls me and said, I just tested positive for COVID. And of course, we were around him a lot more when we were around the boy. And he said, and India was right over top of him. She was helping him order some stuff. And then his wife came down with it. Both of them vaccinated. And bless their heart, my brother's 60-some years old, and I was worried to death about him. But he made it through it. They went and got the transfusions, and he made it through it. But he would call me. It was sort of funny. He'd call me every day, how you feeling today? You feeling okay? Because he just knew, and Kenneth's a conservative. He's not liberal, but he just knew, me not being vaccinated and being around the other boy and being around him, that I was going to get it. And, knock on wood, I could get it tomorrow. But for some reason I didn't. For some reason my wife didn't. And but he'd call me every day. How you feeling today? I'm feeling fine, Kenneth. But he got better. But now he is still. See, that worries me too. I've never seen a virus affect people to where after months of having it, you still have after effects of it. And that's why I think what Keith put on there, I think that's exactly what happened. It was virus was manipulated by man, and when man goes to messing with anything of nature, it's not a good thing. And I think that's what happened, and I think that's why they was engineering that virus to control the world's population. And of COVID, and I hate that for you, Donna. And and that's another thing. They'll see a talk show, conservative talk show like Phil Valentine out of Nashville, or a person that spoke out against vaccination, or just said it was a person's choice. They make it out like they're anti-vax and all that stuff. That it was a person's choice. You get on some of the comments; those people are mean, saying they got what they deserve and stuff and things like that. I would never do that. Even when Bill Clinton got put in the hospital here 3 or 4 months ago, I put on my Facebook, let's pray for a former president. I didn't agree with a lot of things he did, agreed with some of the things he did. But I want to pray for people. I don't want to see people just to prove my point. That's awful, to prove your point, and you're going to say they got what they deserve. That's just awful. Well, I know it. That's why I want to. When I put it out there, I want to say this is not anything. If I put something out factual, I'll say this is the facts. And the CDC did come out with a study March of 2021, that said that the vaccine were highly effective at preventing, not just treating you, not just making you have light symptoms, but at preventing you from getting it. But then I asked him, I said, if that's the case, what they're saying now, the narrative they're saying now, that it's only, you won't die, you won't get so sick. Why do they call them breakthrough cases then? If the vaccines are just meant to treat you when you get COVID, why do they call it a breakthrough case? Because every time with any vaccinations we've ever had, if somebody did get it after that vaccination, which was very few, they would call that a breakthrough case. They quit doing that. But yeah, do you know the Tiger King? Steve R. I watched the series, the documentary series on uh, Netflix, and that was the time that when COVID first was shutting everything down, and you had to watch something on TV because you was stuck at your house. So that's why Tiger King was so popular. Uh, because everybody was stuck in their house and we watched everything else, so we watched Tiger King, and we found it entertaining. Reckon some of the crazy things that he did. Uh, but yeah, we don't know the Tiger King, but we know the series that you're talking about. We know that he's been put in the hospital with undisclosed illness. You look like the guy with baby tigers who likes the ladies. I don't remember that one. The guy with baby tigers. One thing, I'm scared to death of a lot of animals. And you ain't going to catch me around no tiger. You ain't going to catch me around a dog that bites. I got bit when I was a kid by a dog, Steve, and a Doberman Pinscher. And ever since then, I've been scared of dogs. Uh, not little chihuahuas, because you can shake him off your leg. But the big dogs, the pits and stuff, I still have a phobia of dogs. So I don't get around tigers. I don't like rats. I don't like mice. Uh, well, I don't know. Let's see. We might introduce him to Jesus, Donna. If he gets out of line, you got my permission to fart out on him, gal. He might have just been trying to be funny. I'm country, Steve. I'm as country can be. Uh, and of course, I'm from Kentucky, so you can go ahead and make fun of that if you want to. Okay, that's a decent question, don't you think so, Donna? When reaching, you think he is, when reaching older years like yourself, the concept of mortality tends to get pondered. Are you scared of death? No. Well, of course, if I was facing death, uh, of course, a person's going to tend to be afraid of a little bit of the unknown. No matter how much faith you got, there's still the unknown factor that factors in when we're thinking about death. And I'm 59 years old, and sure, I'll tell you this: when my mama was like 47 years old, I can remember thinking, "Boy, she's old. She ain't gonna live much longer." And I would worry about my mama dying. But scared to death, I held my wife, Steve, uh, that died of cancer 20 some years ago. I held her. There was no life left in her. There at her living room, we had a hospital bed in there, and I would get in behind her and hold her like this, and I held her, and she had hardly no blood pressure. She had no life left in her. She was the greatest fighter I've ever seen in my life. And I've always heard all my life that the hearing is the last thing that goes. So I knew her breathing. She was breathing like one gasp every couple minutes. And I hollered real loud in her ear, "I love you, Beth." And slowly, listen to this, she didn't have enough blood pressure, enough energy for anything, hadn't been awake in 24 hours. Her hand slowly came up like this, and she got me by the nape of the neck, and she squeezed my neck, and she passed away. My daddy, I took care of him the last 4 years of his life, and when he passed away, it was more like a child passing away because I changed his diaper, I fed him, I bathed him, and he became more like a child to me. One morning I go in there and he's not breathing, and I do mouth to mouth, I do CPR, and my dad dies there in my arms. My mom at the hospital, the family's all gathered around, and they start singing gospel songs, and I'm sort of worried that mama's, that's going to make her not feel good because it's, most time it's related to a funeral. So I whisper in my mama's ear, and I knew she was about near death, and I told her, I said, Mama, I said, you not gone yet, Mama. I said, I love you. And I whispered in her ear that, and my mama went on off into eternity. My brother, 65 years old, dying of cancer. I watched him as he took his last breath. And many years ago, I was afraid to go to a funeral home. I was afraid of the dead corpses. But after being there right next to several people that died that was actually really, really close to me, and watching life leave their body, no. When it comes down to it, I'll answer your question, Steve. I'm not scared of death because I know what's beyond death. I know what's beyond death. How about you, Steve? You might be a young feller, but are you scared of death? Do you ponder on it? Because you don't have to be old to die. I had a sister, 17 years old, got killed in a car wreck. Had a nephew, 13 years old, got electrocuted on a roof. You don't have to be old to die. That's something we all need to ponder on and decide how we're going to live this life. You say maybe there's nothing after this life. Maybe it's total darkness, blackness, nothingness, like we was before we was born. But still, this life is what you've got to make the best out of it. For people that's going to follow you, the memories you make, live every day of your life to the fullest, and that's what I try to do. If we sit around and worried about death all the time, that wouldn't be no kind of life. I don't care if I'm on up there at 70, 80 years old. I'm not going to sit around and worry about it. Not one bit. Because that takes away from your life. So I hope that answers your question, Steve R. I hope it did, and I hope that you're asking them questions with sincerity and not to poke fun and make fun. But if it makes you feel better and you want to poke fun at me, brother, you go right ahead. It's fine. I've been made fun of before, and if it makes you smile and makes your life a little better, you go ahead and unload on me, buddy. You unload all you want to on me. But I'll say this, thank you for tuning in. We run an auction, online auction on Tuesday and Thursday nights where people bid all over the United States. But every once in a while, I get on here and talk with my buddies like Sammy Stinson and Donna and Keith there. Probably not many people watching right now. And we just talk. We talk about life. We talk about death. We talk about our opinions now on the COVID situation, our opinions maybe on politics. But all of it is just our opinions. We're not conspiracy theorists or anything, far from that. Now, so every once in a while, I may get off on a little whim, and then something has to bring me back down to earth on what we're talking about. Matter of fact, I asked my wife the other night. Here's how silly I am sometimes. I said, "What's a blog?" Everybody's got a blog. And I asked her, I said, "What's a blog?" And I guess it's sort of like this right here where people get on there and talk. And we're going to actually start doing this besides our auction show. We do have another channel on here that we're going to actually get on here and try to do a talk show and just talk to people, just like we're doing tonight, Steve. And hopefully we can make some people's lives a little better. Wouldn't that be great to set out one day and say, hey, I want to make somebody's life a little better today. And each day you start out that day, I want to make somebody's life a little bit better, a little bit happier today. And so, Steve, we hope that we made your life a little bit better. We hope he made you a little bit happier. You know, he was talking about Tiger King. Me and Indy actually got to watching that. And, it was sort of like a soap opera. You know, I even feel sorry for him because he, the report that I got here the other day that he was really sick and he had to be transferred to the medical ward at that prison that he's in. And I feel sorry for people. I felt sorry for him. I don't know why. I probably can't tell you why, but for some reason I did feel sorry for him. And I do a lot of people. I guess I get to feeling sorry for myself sometimes. You guys ever have a pity party? Woe, woe, woe is me. But Steve, always remember this, that there is an eternity, okay? And you may not believe in eternal life. Steve, do you believe in eternal life? Do you believe in eternity? If Steve's still watching, which he may not be, but do you believe in eternity? And a lot of people will answer, no, I don't believe in eternity. I believe we're born, we live, and then we die, and that's it. That's a lot of people's belief. But now, my eternity and Donna's eternity, and a lot of people that watch my shows, eternity is spending an eternity with God our Father and in heaven. That's our goal. That's what we believe in. That's eternity, where time stands still and time's no more. But think about this. Even if you didn't believe in that, there's still an eternity. Yep. Because think about it. I'm no scientist. But I know. Let me see if that's somebody at the door. I'll make sure there wasn't somebody trying to get in and out of the code. But think about this. Matter can't be destroyed. Nothing can be destroyed in this life. Absolutely nothing can be destroyed. Think about that. So even when we die, and if that's it, the energy that we have is transferred somewhere. It doesn't die. It's not destroyed. Our bodies, they may decay and turn to ash and turn back to dust, but it's still there. And guess what? It's there for eternity. That energy our body releases daily, and at our death, it disperses, and it's around for eternity. So no matter what eternity you believe in, there is an eternity, because we can't destroy anything. We just transfer it from liquid to solid to gas to energy. Nothing can be destroyed. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all can name something that can be destroyed. From what I remember in science class, there's absolutely nothing that can be destroyed. So that's eternity. So for you guys that saying I don't believe in eternity, you're going to be around for eternity. My eternity, I like my option better. That I'm going to have a conscience. My spirit's going to go to heaven. And I'm going to know things, and I'm going to enjoy things, and I'm going to feel things that I've never felt in my life. And now you think about your eternity, which you're going to face. Think about that. Going to dust and never being destroyed. Your energy being dispersed, never being destroyed. Everything about you changes, but it's still for eternity. It's still for eternity. No matter what you believe in, you got to believe in eternity for yourself, because you're not going anywhere. Never. No matter, you might change change from a solid person to dust and dirt, or to a liquid, or to gases, or whatever. It's an eternity. So our eternity that we've got is so much better. And listen, you know, a tree, and you take an animal, and then you take a human being. A tree has a body, okay? No soul, no spirit. An animal has a body and a soul. The soul is is the breath that we breathe. But a human being, we're both body, soul, and spirit. We are a triune being, just like God is. God the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost is a triune being. And we are too as humans. We are a triune being. We have a spirit, we have a soul, we have a body. Now get this. When an animal dies, and I don't want to make nobody mad about animals going across that rainbow bridge, and I think there is going to be animals in heaven, okay? I do. But if you notice, take my dog for instance. When it's walking across the road, there you go, Keith. When my dog's walking across the road, he don't look both ways. You know it? And why is it he don't look both ways? He's a body and he's a soul. Okay? He's got that breath of life, which is the soul, and the body. Now that's what dies. When we take our last breath, our soul dies, okay? And our body dies. But human beings have a triune, they are triune beings. We have a spirit. That's the thinking part right up here. That's the person that paints like Michelangelo with his paintings. That spirit is what done that. When we create a work of art, it's not the body or soul that's actually doing it. It's a spirit. When an inventor invents something, it's that spirit. And think about this. God is our creator. He was always creating things, and he's still creating things as the universe just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. That's the word of God. He spoke it, and it ain't stopped. Scientists can't figure it out. It just keeps expanding, guys. And our spirit comes from God. Okay? One day it'll return to God the Father that gave it. Think about that. You don't see a dog out here building a house. You don't see a dog out here painting a Mona Lisa. You don't see any of the animals whatsoever doing that. And you got a tree that's just the body. Okay? It doesn't have a soul. That's why sometimes trees live to be 400, 500, 600 years old. They have no reason to have a soul. And I know tree takes in carbon dioxide and puts out oxygen, okay? That don't mean the tree's breathing, though. But think about that. You got a spirit that's going to go somewhere. And that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes me glad. I know I'm not just a body, and I'm not just a soul. I know that one day when this body dies and that soul, that breath of life is gone, that ain't all of me. I got a spirit. I do. You do. And you ought to rejoice in thinking, hey, I got a spirit. I don't care what religion you believe in or anything like that. Just knowing you got a spirit. If you think about that now, that's where all the good, the great scientists, that's how they discover cures for different things. It's that spirit. And it's that same spirit that came from God the Father. That same creative spirit. That same healing spirit. Every one of us has got that God spirit in us. And that's what's going to return to God one day. And that's where I'm heading. My old body and soul is going to rot away, and the breath is going to be gone, dispersed in the air. But this old spirit's going somewhere. And it's going back to the Father. And then that's when time will be no more. Everything we do, we wake up in the morning, we go to sleep at night. We got a beginning and an end of the day. We got a beginning of the week and the end of the work week. We got a beginning of a job and a retirement of a job. Everything we think about has got a beginning and an ending. That's why our little minds cannot comprehend no time whatsoever. And that's what eternity is. It's no time. Uh, the Bible, and you can say, well, the Bible says this or not. It was written by a bunch of men or whatever you want to. But God says a day is as a year, and a thousand years is a day, and a day is 1,000 years. Meaning there is no time with God. And this is another thing. And this just came up on me about 2 months ago. Think about this. When we die, say I was to die today, okay? And then my children, they live to be a ripe old age. And then they pass away. They live their life and then they pass away. Okay, if I die today and 80 years from now one of my children dies, it'll be no time there. Everybody, with no time, everybody dies at the same time. So mom and dad, they may have been gone for 20 years now. But to them, when I die, ever how many years it is from now, it's just going to be just instantaneously, like we all died together. So they're not having to wait for us, guys. Think about that. There is no time once we die. Time won't exist no more. So if that's the case, we all die together. Mom and dad may have went before us, but actually they didn't, because we all die together, because time doesn't exist no more. That's a thought that came to me the other day, and that may be a little far out there, but I like the idea of it, that mom and dad don't have to wait for me, that instantaneously it'll be just like a blink of an eye. And that's, a lot of people, they'll say, well, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, that's a long, long time. But when we pass away, it's not, because there is no time, no more. And that's, Donna, why we don't have any pain no more. The spirit is not the one that has the physical pain. Now, sometimes we have that spiritual pain, that feeling you get in your stomach when something bad happens, or even the feeling you get when something great happens. That's our spirit that's feeling those things. Now, to cut your hand or to mash your finger or something, that's physical pain. And you're not going to feel that no more with the spirit. None whatsoever. So we probably run Steve R off. I hope we didn't. I hope we've helped you. Don't consider us crazy. These are just my thoughts. And I could change on my thinking tomorrow. I could be wrong on some of my thinking on no matter what I say. And I'm not too much, don't have too much pride to where I can't change my mind and think, boy, I was wrong on what I said yesterday. And then they'll say, oh, he's an old flip-flopper. Well, let me be a flip-flopper. I'd rather be a flip-flopper than be stuck in my ways and just believe anything, believe a lie, and just keep rolling with it. When I discover it's a lie or I discover it ain't right, I'm going to call it out and say, hey, I was wrong. And if the more of the world would do that, if Democrats, Republicans, black, white, no matter what nationality you are, rich, poor, if we would get to the point to where, hey, we may just be wrong on what we're saying and swallow a little bit of that pride and say, hey, I was wrong, and look at things more with an open mind. Not be a person, though, that just gives in just to be part of the crowd. I'll never be that. All right, guys, it's been fun time. It's 5 o'clock. I guess it's about getting daylight out there. I tell you what, guys, never eat chili at 2 o'clock in the morning. When I got done with the auction, I ate a chili and pimento cheese sandwich with black pepper and crackers in it. It ain't like getting up and eating a piece of pizza early in the morning. I can handle that. Chili it don't sit well when you eat it that early in the morning. So that little feeling's finally wore off. I'm glad of it. But I'm thinking about a sausage and biscuit or a country ham and biscuit. Now that'd be good. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody ought to be open. We love you too, Donna. And we want to do I guess it's called a blog. We've got our green screen and stuff. I'd love to do a blog. I guess if that's what you want to call it, on YouTube, and just talk to people. And hopefully try to not make nobody mad, see their point of view. And if I think they're wrong, I'll say, I think you're wrong on that. There was somebody in here, I think it was yesterday, and they were saying something like, so-and-so ain't dead. He ain't dead. And I looked at the other guy and I said, he dead. He's talking about it wasn't necessarily a celebrity, but somebody was in the news a few years ago. He was like, he's not dead. They just made out like he was dead. And I looked at the other guy and I looked at him and I said, he's dead. I said, you a conspiracy theorist. Well, it wasn't really heartburn. It was more of a just like a queasy feeling. Your stomach sort of like Mama used to call it a sour stomach. Not necessarily heartburn, but she'd call it you got a sour stomach, honey. I never did know what that meant, but I know the feeling of a sour stomach. And my girls, they love pickle juice, but that's got so much sodium in it. And I love my salt. I love to salt stuff. If somebody fixes me some beans and it ain't got salt on it, I don't want to eat them. And if they ever tell me, Jerry, you can't have no more salt, they might as well just go ahead and put me in the ground, let my spirit go on over yonder. I ought to get the guitar out and play a little music. That's what I ought to do. I don't know. I don't know if I've got a guitar up here. I think I do. I may get the guitar out and sing here in a minute. I'm not much of a singer, I'll tell you that. You know that video that I done by the Christmas tree, Donna? The recitation that I done. My brother hadn't been passed away too long with cancer, and something just came over me. Something came over me to sit down by the Christmas tree and do a video. Now, I didn't sit down and write that song. I didn't sit and think about it. And that's what's so amazing about that song. I just sat down there and knew I was going to do a recitation. Didn't know what I was going to say. Hadn't thought about it previously. But I started singing, what will I leave behind? After I leave for worlds unknown, what will I leave behind? And I went to talking. Now that whole song, I could not go back. I'd have to go back and write it down listening to it. But that whole recitation was on the spur of a moment. It wasn't pre-written down, pre-remembered. It was as I done it. Completely as I done it. Some people call it ad-libbing, I guess. But that song was never wrote. It was spoken on the spot. And that's what a lot of people, when I tell them that, they don't believe me. They think I sat down and thought about it and wrote it down and all that stuff. But that song was done on the spot. Created right there on the spot. It's never been wrote down on paper. And it's only been done that one time. And it made me feel better after I did it because I was missing my older brother. Because he's my older brother. And whether he'd been my younger brother, I ain't got a younger brother, but I got some middle brothers. I was missing my brother. And until if you've got a brother, and don't ever take him for granted, because you're going to miss him one day. All of us kids are getting old. I told one of my other brothers the other day that I was 59. He said, "You're not 59," because they always knew me as the baby of the family. "You're not 59. Ain't no way." Yeah. Baby brother's already 59 years old. But I watch that video every once in a while, Donna, myself, just to sort of lift me up and to sort of let me know. I think that's the way it is. I know that's the way it was when my wife Beth passed away with cancer. I know that's the way it was with her. There ain't no way in the world. I remember them coming getting her from the funeral home, and I told them about it. They said, "Oh, that was a reflex. She couldn't have done that. That was just a reflex." And a reflex is like that. A reflex is not like this and squeezing your neck. That tells me her body and soul was gone. But that old spirit said, "I'm going to lift that arm up and give him one last good squeeze and a hug and let him know that I heard you say I love you, and this is the way I say I love you back, by squeezing your neck. That spirit couldn't talk to me. She couldn't talk to me, but that arm raised up and grabbed the nape of my neck and squeezed it, such a sweet squeeze I've ever had in my life. And then it fell. And she immediately, her body immediately began to decay. I looked at her arm, and it started turning black and blotchy just immediately after she done that. And they got there, and I told them, I said they was going to cover her head up and take her outside. I said, you ain't covering that gal's head up. I said, she fought cancer. She didn't give cancer no time of day, and you're going to not let cancer defeat her like this by covering her head up when she's going out that door. She ain't leaving my home like that with her head covered up. She gonna leave it with her head uncovered. And I told them, as Diane, the funeral home director, got in the truck, she said, you can ride with me up there. And I said, nope, I ain't riding with you up there. I'm gonna ride in the back with my wife. So I climbed up in the back with my wife, and I held her little jaw still because of the bumpy ride. And she was so hot. Her head was still hot, even though the rest of her body was cold. Her head was still hot to where her body was fighting with the temperature, trying to fight off that disease. One last little try, and she was a fighter. And I rode with her up there. I kept her head uncovered. I wasn't going to let them. Cancer had took her hair. Cancer had took her beauty. To me, she was always beautiful, but with steroids and everything, she thought that it took all that. And I wasn't going to let it take that from her, leaving her home with her head covered up. Just wasn't going to do it, and didn't happen, guys. Yeah, you just text that number, Keith, and we'll get you registered. You don't ever have to buy nothing, anything like that. Just get registered, brother. But God bless you, buddy. Get a good night's sleep. And that's what I'm going to try to do in a little bit. I thank everybody that's uh, was needing a place to stay. They've hunkered down somewhere, and I thank God for that. So I'm probably going to go home and get me some rest here in a minute, Donna, and come back and get all this shipping and invoices done after I get me a good night's, good day's rest. Whatever. Give me 2 or 3 hours of sleep, something like that. Maybe go somewhere and get me a country ham biscuit before I lay down. Donna, you ever had red-eye gravy? I know you have. I never did like it that good. Because what is it? Coffee grinds and grease? Something like that. But here we are. We've pulled the night shift, had a great auction. I'm telling you, I'm tickled. I needed those 3 good nights, Donna. I really did. Financially, spiritually, mentally, I needed 3 good auction nights, and you guys brought it on. It wasn't just good financially; it was good spiritually for me and for Indy and the girls. I want to thank y'all for that. If you're watching later on, just let me know, or let me tell you that I thank you for those last 3 nights. It's helped us, like I said, financially, spiritually, mentally, physically. It was a big lift up for us on the start of a new year. Tenderloin grease, there you go. And they would put coffee grinds in it. And I thought it was just grease. Is that what it basically is, grease? I remember Mamie Whitney would make it, and I think I tried it one time, and I don't think I liked it. I ain't had it in years and years. I may like it now, but I always thought of it as just being grease. I like my good white gravy and some good old biscuits and white gravy. I love that. Black pepper on it. Ooh, big old chunks of sausage in it. If they ever tell me, Jerry, you can't eat no more bacon, Jerry, you can't eat no more uh, uh, hamburgers or anything like that, or sausage or pork chops, I'm going to say just go ahead and chop my head off then. Yeah. And you know something I didn't like as a kid, then I've got to get off here. I may try to, nobody's came in, I may try to go on home and get me some rest and sleep. Uh, India's asleep right now, so I've got to walk about 4 blocks in 8-degree weather. But I can, Uncle Jed can handle it. I forgot what I was fixing to say now. I'm so tired. Uh, oh, I like it. Yes, I like sugar cured ham, salt cured ham. There ain't no ham that I don't like and get along. I can get along with any hams. I'll tell you that. But I never liked molasses growing up. I thought it had a bitter taste to it. I always liked maple syrup, but I never did like molasses or sorghum. Hey, Jennifer Atkinson, hon. We missed you at the auctions here the last 2 or 3 nights. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We're fixing to go home and actually get some rest. I think everybody's hunkered down, and we'll put a phone number on the door. They can call us if they need to come in and stay warm. But thank you, Jennifer, for watching, honey. I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't confuse nobody. These thoughts are just my thoughts that come to me, and I may have a different thought tomorrow, hon. But appreciate you for listening in. We may start a blog sometime or other, because I enjoy talking. I enjoy hearing other people's opinion. I enjoy sharing some of the things that I've realized through life. I've not always been right, guys, on a lot of things. I've not been right. I was saved in a missionary Baptist church, Southern Baptist church, and then I was brought up as a teenager in a Pentecostal church, and I was wrong a lot of times. I was just taught differently, and I found myself on the wrong side of an argument many times. That I hurt more people than I helped whenever I was preaching or teaching a wrong doctrine that was just sort of penetrated through my mind. I hurt more people than I helped, and I look back and I see that. It's best just to let God lead you and guide you and not let man do it. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. Donna, thanks for staying up with me. Jennifer, thanks for being up with me, hon. And we're going to get off here, and I'm going to walk a couple blocks, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to put my cold feet up against India, and she's going to say, "Ooh, honey." "Ooh, your feet's cold." Well, that's why I got them up against your warm legs, to get them warm. If they was warm, I wouldn't need to put them over on you. Yeah, you know, I got led wrong a lot in the Pentecostal church, and that's not down in Pentecostal people. But I got, you know, I listened to a lot of the stuff, and then I got to studying the Bible myself, and things were brought to light with me as far as on some of the doctrine, the man-made doctrine that was taught, and I'm thinking, you know, that ain't right. You know, I don't care if I love the preacher to death, that ain't right. But good night, guys. We'll do another blog sometime or another. I'd love to do a blog. I don't know what night to do it, but I would love to do a blog and talk about maybe some of the things going on in the world and get old country boys' point of view of it and some of you guys' point of view of it. I think that'd be pretty good. And it helps me, too, a lot to be able to get things off my chest and to be able to talk and know that I might be able to help somebody. Like Steve Donna tonight, I think Steve R., that we thought was a troll, which might have been. I think we helped Steve R. tonight. I do. I think he's going to look at life differently, and I'm going to pray that he does. I'm going to pray that he comes back and says, "Hey, I was on there to make fun of you and stuff, but, you know, the things you said and the thing Donna said and other people said, you know, it got me to thinking, and I apologize." You know, wouldn't that be good right there? Oh, boy, that'd make my day. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. God bless you. I'll be back in here tomorrow evening, and trying to get the shipping done and invoicing done and get all that caught up and everything. I'm going to go home and rest a while and enjoy a couple hours of sleep. So God bless you guys.